Hey guys, it's Julia. I'm here to share my thoughts on Lord of Shadows with you guys. I know it came out a really long time ago, and I did try and get out another review, but for some reason the video just wouldn't work. It's all very frustrating, honestly, but I really just wanted to share my thoughts, so I think I'm going to focus more on the characters and their developments than on actual plot points, just to let you know, because it has been a while. As for a non-spoilery review, I would probably give this book an A. It was really good. It was a great sequel, a great transition, like it just flowed really seamlessly from Lady Midnight, and I honestly just couldn't put it down. I wanted to read it all the time, and the characters, I just learned so much about them, which was amazing, and I'm so happy that I got to do that. So if you haven't read this book, please go away and then come back and we can discuss everything about this. Okay, so hello spoilery people, aka the people who've actually read this book, I hope. I know that there's a lot of things that people have had theories about that I've seen like on Tumblr, and Kathy's been like, oh, totally debunked those theories. But I'm just going to tell you what I thought while I was reading the book, and if you have any ideas about that particular piece of information, just leave a comment down below. And honestly, I probably already know a lot of the flaws of some of my conspiracy theories and thoughts and whatnot, but yeah, so just let me know, because I do want to keep learning more about this universe and trying to figure out what's going to happen at the end of the series, because oh my gosh, we only have one more book left. So we started the book with Clary and Jace coming to the Institute, which I absolutely love. I just love Jace's interaction with Kit, and Jace just getting to experience this new Herondale after thinking he was the last one is so special, and I'm so glad that he got to have that moment with Kit and to just tell him and show him a little bit about what a Herondale is like. And I think that was really special for Kit too, because he's like, wow, Jace is really cool, because, you know, Jace has that effect on people, and so then he would want to be cool too. Kit, I mean. One thing that I really hated about Jace and Clary coming down was that Clary told us, I mean, this was probably a good thing because otherwise we would not have known that Clary was having these dreams or whatever, but that Clary is going to die, and that is why she said no to marrying Jace, which is just screwed up if you ask me, because they need to have little Herondale babies, and if this whole thing works out with Kit and Ty, you know, Kit can't procreate. He can't pass on those genes if he ends up with Ty. And so, therefore, I really think that it's important that Jace and Clary get married and have little Herondale babies, because we need the Herondale line to continue. It's just a fact of life. But other than Jace, freaking Simon, he's been through so much. He does not need Clary to die. And I mean, Clary herself is a spectacular character, so she doesn't need to die for herself either. But still, the people that would affect in her life, it just hurts. It hurts so much. She would never get to meet Simon and Izzy's babies, and she wouldn't be able to be there for their wedding. Well, I mean, depending on when she dies, I don't know. Okay, so more about Kit. I definitely thought his journey to becoming a shadow hunter was A+. You kind of barely noticed it as it was happening. He just got more and more warmed up, started thinking less and less about running away, and even when he did almost run away at the shadow market, he didn't. He like had the thought, but it was a forced thought, and you could kind of tell he was a little bit skeptical about that. It had been his way of thinking for so long that it was just automatically ingrained there, but when the time came, there was really no option for him to stay with Ty and Livy, which I love their little trio and how seamlessly Kit managed to fit himself into Ty and Livy's duo. Yes, duo. I mean, Ty and Livy are just the most precious little, you know, all three of them together, growing up together in this book. Like, they grew so much, and they went on so many little adventures, and it was just so important for me to experience, because I got to kind of get to know Ty and Livy a little bit better, as well as Kit, because I kept imagining them, even in Lady Midnight. I mean, I knew that they were 15, but I still kept imagining them as if they were the babies that they were in City of Heavenly Fire. And I mean, they weren't babies, they were like, what, 10? But still, that's quite a difference when it comes to development. I was hoping when I read Lady Midnight that Kit and Ty would become Parabody, which would just kind of leave Livy out, and that would just suck so much. So I don't know why I ever thought about that, especially like because Kit and Ty. But then when Kit and Livy started getting close, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys should be pair body, definitely, because if Ty goes to the Scholomance, like, they would just be so perfect. And also, please ignore the way that I say pair body. I know it's supposed to be pair bataille or something, but it just doesn't form right in my mouth. Pair bodies, I'm too used to it at this point, okay. Anyway, so that's just a really sad note that we're just gonna move on from that. Actually, about Ty going to the Scholomance, I was really glad that the Centurions, one of the only good things that the Centurions being there did was to convince Ty that he did not want to go to the Scholomance to become a Centurion. And that makes me so happy because Ty leaving would just be so sad for everyone. I think Kit just explained it to him so well when he was like, it's not about wanting to protect you or wanting to make sure you're in their line of vision. It's about them like loving you, and that important aspect of everything. More about Ty, I love his Sherlock and Watson stuff because that's totally something that like I would do. Like actually during AP Biology senior year of high school, me and my best friend pretended to be Fitz and Simmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In every single lab we would be speaking like British accents and pretending that she was Fitz and I was Simmons, and it was just so much fun. I think they're having to do it in a bad situation, you know, trying to save their family and find Annabelle and all this stuff, so it puts a little bit of light on it, and I think that's really good for someone, especially that young. Okay, so another Blackthorn sibling, Drew. Poor girl. Oh my gosh, poor girl. I just felt so bad for her that she kept getting left out and being stuck with Tabby, who's like, what, 4 years younger than her? She's not equivalent with Tabby at all, and I felt so bad for her. I mean, 13 is a bit young. She was just right in that middle age that they couldn't help but ignore her because there was so much going on, and there was actually a point when I thought she might betray her family. How awful that is. I was just kind of questioning her alliances, and then when Jaime showed up, I was like, oh shoot, like this cannot happen, because I thought Jaime was bad, but then, you know, Jaime came in and just wooed her over, and oh my gosh, I was just like, she is not 16, okay? This girl is a child. It was just making me very uncomfortable, honestly. I mean, I could see it happening in the future. Like, I could definitely see them having good chemistry, but she is a child. Okay, so now we are going to get to a very important part of my thought on Lord of Shadows, and that is Mark, Kieran, and Christina. I've talked to a couple of people about this book, and in my talking to them, I have realized how much I need Mark and Christina together. And Kieran, honestly, just for the entire of Lady Midnight and most of Lord of Shadows, I was just like, go away. Like, he was so annoying and stuck up. He's just, ugh, you know? And Mark and Christina totally belong together in, like, every regard, and every time that they had some moment together, I just got really excited. And the binding spell that they got in Fairy, I really wish that would have done more. Like, yeah, they developed in their relationship a lot more, and they, like, kissed, and they got closer to each other, but I was really wanting it to do more because I feel like their relationship could have progressed in that manner without the binding spell. So I feel like the binding spell really did nothing, and it should have. I wanted them to, like, end up having to sleep in the same bed or become very intimate with each other, and they didn't, and I was so upset, especially when Kieran, Mark needs to be rid of him. Kieran is, like, practically toxic for him, in my opinion, just because of everything. He's just pleading Mark to come back to him, even though, like Mark said, he didn't really have a choice. Like, he deserves the right to choose. Kieran, I like him a bit more after Lord of Shadows, but he just needs to go away. He was honestly one of the people that I knew someone was gonna die at the end of this book, and he was one of the people on my list for people I would be okay dying. Him and Perfect Diego, partially also because of Mark and Christina, actually. See, their relationship, like, affects a lot of my opinions. That was another good thing about the Centurions coming, was that it made Diego and Christina break up. Also, I really loved how we got to see more sides of Christina and how she's not just this really nice, really lawful good kind of character. It was just so cool to see these other parts of Christina. It made me love her like 10,000 times more. I love Christina so much. And to see Mark kind of grow up a bit after being in Fairy for so long, he was using like serious human phrases, and I was like, yes, Mark, this is where you belong with these shadow hunters. Good kid, good, you know, just keep at it. Stay away from Kieran. Okay, I'm gonna move on now because I'm talking about these three way too much. So, Jules and Emma. Mark and Emma's relationship didn't actually last as long as I thought it would, but I'm glad for that because of, you know, Mark and Christina, and also Jules and Emma. And they definitely needed to face their feelings for each other. They can't push each other away. There's so much pain between them, honestly, like, in me. I can't. When they were in Cornwall, I just died over how well they interacted as pair body, and they were best friends again in Cornwall. And I mean, there was definitely romantic times in Cornwall, but they were best friends, and that was so important to me, that they were able to interact like they used to. And then when they like admitted their feelings to each other, it was so wonderful, and it was a great little honeymoon time before the end of the world, and they were going to be separated and whatnot. I liked in this book that it showcased how they can still act as pair body and still be best friends, even though they have all this angst going on inside them about their emotions and their feelings toward each other. Now that we're talking about things across the pond, you know, over in the UK, we might as well bring up Malik and their kiddos. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love seeing Magnus and Alec being all domestic, and little Max and Rafi hanging out with Tabby. Tabby deserves some kids his own age, let me tell you. Okay, so my camera just died and I had to plug it in for like 20 minutes, but I don't know how long it's gonna last, so we have to do this very quickly before the camera dies. Here's hoping. Okay, so when Magnus got hurt, I started freaking out because there's really no telling if he's gonna live or not. That adult series that Cassie's writing about Magnus, it could take place in the past. You never know. Magnus is a very old person. Thankfully, he's okay. But then when I heard about the thing with the Warlocks and Tessa, like, no, not okay. First we have Clary dying, and then we have Magnus and Tessa and everyone else getting sick. I'm just beside myself with worry about everyone. These people need to be safe. Moving on. Right around that same time, Robert was killed by Annabelle, and that just, first of all, it ruined the ability of Julian and Emma to be separated long enough for them to figure out the whole pair body thing, which would have been great, number one. Number two, like, imagine how Max and Rafi are going to, like, they aren't going to be able to grow up with their grandpa, who has finally, like, he's a good grandpa. His character arc has completely finished. He was a great person. I mean, it's good that his character arc finished before he died, but it's just so sad that he's finally a good person. And I mean, he's been a good person for a couple of years, but still his family, it's just so hard. Like, the Lightwood's already lost Max like 5 years ago. They don't need to lose their dad too. It just hurts so much. I felt so bad for them. And Annabelle just killing him like that with the mortal sword, like, she's insane. I honestly was hoping that she wouldn't be crazy and evil, but there was a part of me that couldn't help deny it. But the entire time I was just like, no, she's gonna be good. She's gonna be a good Blackthorn. But she just ran the Inquisitor through with the sword when she got a little freaked out. I mean, to be fair, I did feel bad for her, but still. Then she killed Libby, which is not forgivable. That is not something that I'm ever going to be able to get over. Libby had so much life to her, and when I filmed this video the first time, I started crying, so we'll see if that happens again. It's been a while since I finished the book, though. Libby wants to run an institute, and I could just see that. I want to see her grow up and get married and have kids and teach people how to be shadow hunters and run an institute, and literally, she's so precious and such a special character. I almost said person. Can you imagine how Ty and Jules are going to feel afterwards? I mean, the whole Blackthorn family is going to blame themselves, honestly, but I really hope that Ty doesn't just go mute, because I'm a little bit worried that he's just going to permanently go mute, honestly. And I mean, Jules he's gonna kill himself. He's going to up his game in protecting his family, which is a little worrisome because of the lengths that we know that he's willing to go to do so. That's a good way to start my worries and theories section. Who the actual heck is this Shade guy that Ty, Kit, and Livy met in the Shadow Market? He was not mentioned another time in the book, not once. Who is he? Honestly, I'm kind of thinking that he is going to be in the Wicked Powers more, or in the Last Hours or something, because of the fact that he wasn't mentioned again. I just feel like that makes sense. Although we could find out more about him in the last book of the Dark Artifices. I would be cool either way. I'm gonna read the books, so I'm just very curious as to who he is. And he was a little bit pacifistic, which was cool. I was a little bit worried that they would just be abducted. I mean, they were almost killed a couple of times after that in the same night, but you know, it didn't make it like a third time that they were almost killed, right? And they got information out of it, so I don't know who the Shade is, but he's nice, I think. Another thing I'm worried about, I'm so worried that now that Robert is dead, that the cohort is going to take over the inquisitorial position, specifically Horace Dearborn. I hate the Dearborns. I am so mad at them for disgracing a name such as Dearborn. It's such a great name. I mean, Dearborn. It's an amazing name, and they totally just threw it on the ground and smashed it to bits because they are awful, awful people, and I do not want them running any sort of governmental position. It's a little worrisome to me because the Clave is already kind of sucky, and I don't want it to suck even more. It's just not something that is good. Another thing with Robert gone is Jules and Emma not being able to be separated, which is a good thing for my heart, in that I want to see them together and see them interacting, and I want them to be together because otherwise they'll be miserable. But also a bad thing because of the curse and everything that goes along with that. But yeah, I'm just worried about what's going to happen. They aren't going to be able to bring up to the new Inquisitor their whole love thing because they didn't have the whole thing like Robert did with Michael being in love with him, and Robert he's come so far. The new Inquisitor wouldn't understand them, and he just throw them in jail right away, and they don't have any sort of sway. Okay, I'm just moving on. Something I'm also worried about is going back into Fairy, because Fairy freaking stresses me out like 24/7, and I hate that we're going there so much. I mean, I understand that this book series is a lot more about fairies than the other Downworlders, understandably, like with the cold piece and everything, but still, it just stresses me out. You never know what's going to happen in Fairy, or whether a fairy has some sort of twisted plan, because they usually do, and they like never tell the truth. Although in this book, it was really nice that we got Mark and Helen's aunt. She was actually legitimately nice to them, and that was such a surprise. I loved it. Very happy about that, and gave me a little bit more faith in Fairy. And by a little bit more, I mean an ounce. You know, I'm still very hesitant to say anything good about Fairy, just because of our previous encounters with them. Okay, my two main theories, which I know that they have been a bit debunked recently by Cassandra Clare, but one is that the weapon that Clary and Jace are searching for and Ash are the same person, and that is also the Seelie Queen and Sebastian's kid. Okay, so hear me out. I know this theory has been going around about Seelie Queen and Sebastian having had a kid back in the, you know, when Sebastian was alive and in cahoots with the Seelie Queen, and that's kind of like my feel. I know that the kid Ash that Drew met was like around her age, right? Like 13. But time moves differently in Fairy, right? And it would make sense that the Clave would send Jace and Clary into a mission to search for someone who is one of their blood and the other one's kind of blood. Just having that tie with Sebastian's kid would definitely prompt them to send Jace and Clary specifically on a mission to find this weapon. So it died again. I know, I'm great at this, aren't I? Here we go, round 3. Oh. Okay, I have one more note to make, and that is about Cortana's ability to cut through anything. The fact that Cortana was able to kill one of the riders gave me the idea that perhaps it could cut through the para-body bond. I have no idea how that would work, and I know for a fact that Cassie has said that this is impossible due to the nature of a sword versus a bond, But, I mean, it was a thought that I had, and I think it would be really cool for Cortana to be able to cut through bonds, because it literally says cut through anything. It doesn't say cut through any surface, or any metal, or any physical thing. It just says anything. And the word thing can apply to a very wide variety of things. So yes, I believe that is it for this video. If you have any questions referring to other things in the book, or questions about my opinion about other things in the book, please ask them below. I would love to talk about it with you guys. Also, a couple of announcements. One, I made a Twitter. I forgot to announce it in my last video, but I have a Twitter. It's just at BookishJewels, and I will put the link down in the description. But if you guys want to follow me, that'd be really cool. And Twitter is kind of foreign to me, but I'm going to try my best to stay communicating with you guys, especially over these next few weeks, because Monday, July 3rd, I had surgery on my jaw. It doesn't look like it because I'm filming this before, but so that'll be my really my only way to communicate with you guys, because I won't be making videos. But my best friend Lena, whom you met in the last video, is going to be taking over the channel for me. I'm excited for her because she's never really done this before, so be really supportive of her, please. I'll see you guys again soon, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and yeah, bye!